he's telling me, Dave, though, the problem with Mojo is that it has no regulation at all. So, you know, if a 14-year-old comes into the raw shop and wants to buy a pack of Marlboros, he can't do it, and you can get into big trouble if you sell him a pack of Marlboros. But if a 14-year-old comes in and wants to buy some Mojo, it's no problem.
That's right. As a matter of fact, when I went to the store to buy it, I did say they don't like you to talk about, they don't like to ask questions about the drug world or about laws. They just think that you're going to be some narc or whatever, and
right.
like really don't. I said, well,
I can't imagine anyone thinking you're a narc, Dave. I mean,
you know, isn't that the way everything is when it's unregulated? That you know, you obviously have to start somewhere, and then eventually you have to start. There's nothing wrong with regulation, and again, don't get me started on the BP spill, but 5 months ago, a community voice, the former Louisiana Acorn, was demanding that BP Atlantis get investigated. BP Atlantis, where they have a refinery where they were violating some safety regulations, we didn't even know. We didn't even know about this fly-by-night industry that comes in, sets up a rig, $500,000 a day, digs an oil, caps it, and leaves. We didn't even know about this the way it's under the radar, and now we know this Holocaust has descended on us.
Okay, but Dave,
say a plug for,
so would you say...
I want to say a plug May 30th at 1 p.m. at Jackson Square, May 30th, Sunday, a rally against BP, against this Holocaust, and the fact that they seem to be telling us what to do. We're going to start telling them what to do on this rally from this day forward. But anyway.
Yeah, they're keeping a lot of people on the bayou happy, throwing around a lot of money. But let's face it, man, they're making a mess. They made a mess out of everything. Yeah. But look, let me come back to the issue, though, Dave. So then, okay, regulation. So then, do we want to regulate Mojo because we don't want children buying it?
Well, let me just say this: is that the Raw Shop and the Herb Emporium and all these other places, I would like to see them in a kind of a new image, the holistic center, where we sell holistic medicine, herbs, sage. We have yoga. We have healthcare. The way that it's being shaped these days, it's still kind of like, hey, a place where you can get the drug test and party and be able to pass this. I mean, and there's so much more than that. It's really a healthy place to get healthy and to get off drugs if you want to, and to learn how to be in moderation and to educate yourself on herbs and holistic treatments. And I love the sage that I buy at these shows.
Okay, but
you're talking about social responsibility in the business world, though.
But Dave, what I'm saying is, so do we want Mojo to be regulated by the government to protect children from being able to get it? Is that okay with you?
The same regulation we have on alcohol, tobacco, firearms. And again, you're talking to somebody that I think that we have a long way to go before we really look at the real regulation of firearms, where we need testing regularly. We need an identification card. We need to know who's carrying the guns and if they have any kind of past or anger issues. And we have no problem with molesters or convicted felons owning firearms. Why in the world are assault weapons showing up in Mexico and they're being bought at stores in the United States, perfectly legal, these gun shows? So, yeah, I mean, regulation and safety are required when our consumer and our people are concerned. I mean,
okay, so absolutely. I finally did it, ladies and gentlemen. I got Dave Capasso in the role of Hannity. Okay, because I'm going to tell you, I was talking about this with Tim, and you know, Dave, sometimes you think I kind of put on take the conservative angle just to make controversy. But on this particular issue, in talking to Tim, I realized that actually, you know what? The problem I have with any regulation on Mojo is that I've raised some children now, okay? And I don't need marijuana laws to protect my children from drugs. I don't need weapons laws to protect my children from carrying illegal weapons. I don't need heroin laws to keep my children from shooting heroin. And I don't need the alcohol board regulating the bars to keep my children out of the bars because of the way I raised them. What I'm saying is,
and of course that's great, but I'm glad.
Ultimately,
after 15 years ago, we had that tobacco lawsuit that you can't sell tobacco 1,000 feet from schools. I'm glad that we finally put that law in place, because these cigarette companies would be waiting for them to come home from school, waiting for them to get their little candy cigarettes. So yeah, sometimes we need those laws for the families that really don't pay attention to what they're feeding their kids, what they're watching on TV. Yeah, I think we need more parental guidance on television.
Right.
Do you know there were laws 25 years ago put on to make sure that kids were not watching on Saturday morning some crazy advertisements about bad toys, but Reagan said, no, I don't want those laws. I want to have them say whatever they want on these commercials. So now we have more violent toys. We have more manipulated ads where the shows they're watching are really just advertisements for the kids' shows. And then, of course, don't get me started on the fact that I still have to have my kid watch beer commercials and violent sitcom previews when they're just watching the Saints on Sunday. I have to shut off the TV every time the game goes to a commercial.
But what I'm saying is, isn't there some level where actually because I'm not talking, there's always some parents that are having a bad time, maybe not doing as good a job as they would like or we would like. But for the most part, most parents are doing a good job and paying attention to their children. Isn't there a point where you can say, look, society's job is to, help parents, watch over their kids and supervise them. And when it comes to some of these things, the government just kind of gets its foot in the door. Because the other thing is now that Mojo's illegal, there's no reason not to smoke pot, because either way you're going down for a misdemeanor. So they just killed the Mojo business.
I don't know how to comment on that at all. I just think that when you have a situation where you want
I think
to
the pot dealers were behind this.
People, there's nothing wrong with passing laws to do more education, more awareness.
Yes, I like that.
I mean, I'm for 80-mile-an-hour speed limits if that's what the community wants in Montana or on the open road. I think that that there was the Causeway chief said that we actually increased the speed on the Causeway from 55 to 62, but we put more restrictions and more lights and more bumpers, and we have less accidents because we think that was the best. I mean, whatever it takes to do studies, there's nothing wrong with studies that say yoga may help cancer because you do less drugs and you are breathing more. I'd rather have that situation than the Catholic Church doing a press conference that says we need to ban yoga because it's a cult. And those are the kind of fear-mongering, and those are the kind of people out there that sometimes prey on you with their own laws of boogeyman and fears. And I'm over the boogeyman. Why don't you, and your guest would tell you about the 40 to 50 to 60 years that people have said so many lies about marijuana, so many things about that it'll get your child raped by somebody else and get your family addicted and you'll be the devil. I mean, let's come into the light and let's educate people on what's really happening, not just to make laws for the sake of making them. And I'd rather, I wish Ann Duplessis was listening to this with her new appointment at Mitch Landrieu's office. She should resign immediately, man. What a dismal appointment that was. But she was on the state house floor saying, this Mojo needs to be banned. It's just like marijuana. And one of the other state representatives said, ma'am, how do you know that? I mean, what have you smelled it? Does it smell like marijuana? She goes, I don't even know what marijuana smells like, but I'll tell you it's bad, and I want it banned. She doesn't even know what marijuana smells like, and you're a state representative wanting to ban another drug. I mean, get real, man.
Okay, and you're saying it should maybe
books now,
maybe
why don't we start banning movies?
Maybe it should be banned because it's not as good of a high as the real thing.
No, I think
it's a quality control issue.
I think that people should do studies on it, just like movies. I love the way that we do movies in America. You can trash a movie. They spent $10 million on this movie, and some critic tells you how pathetic it is, what a piece of crap it is. Don't go to see it. And that's great. Don't ban the movie because it stinks.
Right.
Well, what about, okay, now, Tim was, in a business that, again, until it came out in the newspaper, this thing about crack pipes, okay, that's basically catering to people that identify with being part of, I'll call it very loosely, say, the drug culture. And so, what about the whole paraphernalia thing? Hasn't there been controversy over the constitutionality of prosecuting purveyors of quote-unquote paraphernalia like the Raw Shop and other head shops? I mean, isn't that somewhat controversial from a legal standpoint?
Well, my issue on this, and I've seen those pipes, and I think that it was a great idea to find. It was a horrible idea the way they attacked and arrested a Muslim and people who run these gas stations. It was horribly discriminatory, and it's amazing how all you got to do is go to the Walgreens or go to any of these other stores that sell Glad sandwich bags and scales and Easy Wider and whatever you want at the mom and pop store. But they targeted this. But